But see, with wrestling, the life of a wrestler, unless you're a Hulk Hogan, a Stone Cold Steve Austin, or Undertaker, a lot of times your career does not end well and you end with nothing. Zip, zero, zilch. All right, so shut the fuck up and get off my page. All right, y'all, I got the hoodie on, so you know what that means. I ain't have time to shave this dome, and I'm not going to let y'all see my receding hairline, so ugh. So tonight, I'm here to talk about Young Rock Episode 2. I reviewed Episode 1 last week, and I thought it was a good start to a series, even though I felt like the story really wasn't cohesive. You know, you go from Little Rock, Mid Rock, Big Rock, and I just felt like it was kind of hard to follow because just when you're trying to figure out what's going on here, okay, it jumps to this, and now once you try to figure out that, it jumps to that, you know. And not so much figured out, but it's like trying to latch onto this new character that we have, even though it's The Rock. We all, well, wrestling fans know The Rock's story, but I'm talking about as far as this show, you know, you want to get a connection to the characters on the show, and the first episode I felt like didn't give us time to connect to those characters, you know what I mean? By the time the show was over with, I was like, okay, that's cool, a lot of potential here, but wasn't crazy about it. But this episode, Episode 2, y'all, put a smile on my face. It really did. I love the way that it paid homage to the Soul Man, Rocky Johnson, rest in peace. He's a legend of the game. And unless you're a wrestling fan, you probably never heard of him. You know, most casuals or non-wrestling fans, everybody's heard of Hulk Hogan and The Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and of course, The Rock. But Rocky Johnson is somebody that, unless you're a wrestling fan, you never heard of. But that man was bad. The Soul Man Rocky Johnson was bad. It wasn't a whole lot of black wrestlers back then. You know, you had your Tony Atlas, Rocky Johnson, Junkyard Dog, Special Delivery Jones, Bobo Brazil, who I just heard about. I love how this episode really paid homage to him. But it was kind of heartbreaking, too, because this is at a point where he no longer works for the WWF. Vince McMahon let him go. And the sad thing with a lot of wrestlers is that once they get let go from a big organization, they're stuck doing small shows, small venues, and it's a far cry from their glory days. And it's like Rocky is having a hard time adjusting to not being a top guy anymore. You know, he's pretty much at the bottom again, you know what I mean? And he's having a hard time with that. So he spends most of the time reminiscing about the good old days. And it's kind of sad to see because it's like, you know, all his life, that's all he's known as wrestling. And that's how he provided for his family. And now it's like, damn, I'm in a position where I'm going to have to figure something else out because the family is struggling. You know, his wife, Rocky's mom, she has a cleaning business where she's working for this white lady, and she has to clean houses. And The Rock has to pretend to be rich by stealing clothes and shoes. But the thing I can say about this episode that I really appreciated was how they showed The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, as an awkward teenager. But at the same time, he wasn't a typical awkward teenager, okay? I was that typical awkward teenager that was socially awkward, had a hard time talking to girls, got rejected left and right, you know? So the fact that he was able to say the things that he said and get the girl, a white girl at that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, this ain't a race thing, but it is what it is. I've asked out some white girls back in the day, and they was like, nah. I was in a bad spot, though, because I was too black for the white girls, but I wasn't black enough for the sisters. Ain't that some shit? I was kind of like a social mutt. But anyways, Rock gets the girl. He has to lie to her and say that his father is the top guy. He's wrestling at this sold-out event, and it comes out to be this little rinky-dink show at a flea market. But guess what? No matter if he's wrestling in front of 5 people, he's still a Soul Man. He's going to put on a show, and that's exactly what he did. She became a fan instantaneously. And I love the fact that he stood by his pop's side, even though she wasn't feeling it. She was ready to leave. And a lot of guys in that position, a lot of teenage boys, even grown men in that position, just to get the girl, just to get the draws, would have been like, you know what, Pop, I'm going to have to check you later, man. You know, I'm trying to hit the skins here. You know what I mean? Nah, he stuck by his daddy, man. I appreciate that. And that shows the relationship that he had with his pop, even though, you know, once it got to a point where it got you know, weird a little bit. But for the most part, he had his father's back. His pops was his hero, and I love that, you know what I mean? But here's the part where I was waiting for, y'all. Okay, so I said, okay, I know this is a show based on his life, but I read the book. All right, I read Rocky's book, and I know his life. To me, personally, I think his life should have been directed by Martin Scorsese into a 3-hour movie, you know what I'm saying, instead of a show. But we get what we get. You got to take the crooked with the straights, and that's no knock on the show. I'm liking the show so far, but just from what I read in the book, I said, yo, this could have been a Scorsese film, man. And from what I heard about Mr. Johnson, The Rock, was that he had a badass temper. All right, I watched the wrestling shoot with Tony Atlas, who was a legend, and he said, Rocky, Rocky he was real temperamental. And the guy said, what? Said he was real temperamental. He had a bad temper. And Rocky fought all the time. He had all the time. He got in the fights. He just real hot temper kid. You know, he just really bad temper. So yeah, so The Rock even admitted himself he had a bad temper. He was quick to fight. And there was a story in the book where it was a football game when he was in high school, and his pops was talking to one of the reporters that was there covering the game, and the reporter was asking him about his son, and he said, okay, you see how that mascot's over there messing with my son? My son has a short temper. Watch him fight that mascot. And sure enough, Rock went over there and beat the mascot damn near to death. So yeah, awkward team, but with a bad temper, and they showed that at the end of the episode, right when the credits were coming on, where he knocked out the white boy for calling wrestling fake. And I said, bravo, bravo. Not by the fact that he knocked out a white boy. Stop making this a race thing. Rashad, why are you so racist? I'm not. He could have been any color. But back then, especially in the 80s, now the golden era of wrestling, you never call wrestling fake. All right. That would cause you to get your ass beat. All right. To me, it was real because my cousin used to demonstrate the moves on me. Okay, I can't tell you how many suplexes I got, how many body slams I've taken, how many power drivers damn near paralyzed me. You know what I'm saying? Full Nelson's, figure four leg lock, I got it all. Wrestling was real. You couldn't tell me otherwise. And if you needed me to demonstrate to you how wrestling real was, I'd be glad to show you. If you needed me to demonstrate to you how wrestling real was, I'd be glad to show you. So yeah, knocks my man out, episode ends, and the girlfriend, she is all hot in the ass right now for him. You know what I'm saying? That butt's dripping with moisture right now. She wants a piece of The Rock, and I'm pretty sure he gave it to her too. So anyways, y'all, not to ramble on about this episode, I thought this was a dope episode. It shows the struggle of what his family went through. There were a couple of people in the comments last week talking about, well, Rashad, how can you say he started from the bottom? His dad was an all-star wrestler. Hopefully you dumbasses watch this episode and see that, yeah, his dad was an all-star wrestler in his heyday, but see, with wrestling, the life of a wrestler, unless you're a Hulk Hogan, a Stone Cold Steve Austin, or Undertaker, a lot of times your career does not end well and you end with nothing. Zip, zero, zilch. All right? So shut the fuck up and get off my page. So anyways, y'all, what did you think about episode 2 of Young Rock? Comment freely below. And oh yeah, and the performances, listen, I got to look up these actors' names. The actor that's playing Rocky Johnson has a striking resemblance to the man. Even the drop kick, you know what I'm saying? I was impressed by how they choreographed the wrestling in the show. You know, I'm pretty sure Rock had a lot to do with that. Like, look, get somebody that could actually kind of look like my father and perform this. And I thought he did. And even the guy that's playing Young Rock, you know, I think he's got a lot of charisma. He's got a good screen presence. And so far, yeah, performances on the show was on point. This show was on point to me. I dig. So looking forward to next week. What did you guys think about it? Comment freely below. If you like and dig this content, hit that like and subscribe notification bell in the corner. This is Rashad G signing out. See you in the next video.